So in this video, I'm going to be ranking my top 5 Amazon sourcing methods. Now, I have tried all of these methods myself. I still use a bunch of them. And if you're watching this as a beginner and you're worried that you're not going to understand what I'm talking about, don't worry, I don't do overcomplicated. Naturally, you won't have used a load of sourcing techniques having only just started your Amazon journey. So don't worry, I'm going to explain what each one is as I work through it, and I'm going to tell you why I've put it at the rank that I have done. For you as a more advanced Amazon seller, you might just be keen to hear what another Amazon seller thinks of various sourcing methods. Maybe you've stuck to one and you've not really thought too much about the others, but maybe this video will give you inspiration to try a new technique. Either way, let's go ahead. Number 5, deal sheet / services, can also be referred to as leads sheets and lead services. I'm also going to throw in there deals, like deal groups, leads groups, and these are basically services that give you deals. So you don't have to do anything. You just sign up or you join and they will give you deals. Now, how many deals, the quality of the deals, that is determined by the source you've joined. And the thing that I've got on the screen there is an example of a deal service, and there's loads of those around. They're just software portals, basically website portals, and all you do is join. Obviously, all of them will have some form of payment, so you'll be paying for these services. There might be varying subscription levels, but either way, they will charge you for using the services. No one's going to be giving away these things for free. So a service like this, there's a bunch of things to consider. It's the same sort of stuff with a deal / leads group as well. There's so much to consider with them. So some of the key things to think about, and to be fair, if you're thinking of going ahead with any of these things, whether it be a service or a group or whatever, ask a few questions first, or see if they've got anything on the website, or if you're going to join a group, maybe they've got something you can read before you join that just explains a bit about it and how it works. And if you don't get that, my advice to you would be to reach out and to ask the support or whoever owns the group or whatever for those details. So you want to know how many leads you can expect from the service and how often are you going to get them. Sometimes they're daily, sometimes they are weekly, sometimes they're every other week in some cases, but it's usually daily, every other day, weekly, something like that. So most of them are fairly consistent with how often they distribute leads. Some of them will have a limit on how many leads they give you. So you want to be checking how many leads they will give you in a day or in a week or whatever. And also something else you want to know is the size of the group, or how many clients the lead service is taking on. Now, I would say the better groups and the better lead services out there will have a limit, a solid limit on how many people they let use their service. Now, the reason why this is good is because obviously if everyone just goes and joins one lead service, then everyone's going to be getting in on those deals. And even if they randomize their deal distribution, because not many of them will give you a unique trail of leads just solely for you and your specifications, they'll find things that constitute as a general deal and then distribute them out randomly. That's how some of the better ones work. But either way, if they've got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of clients, that can only be randomized so much. So you'll find that a lot of people end up with the same kinds of deals. Obviously, the deals that you actually go ahead with are determined by your own personal criteria, and obviously a bunch of people might get the same deal, but only one might go for it because it only meets one of those sellers' personal criteria. And all of our personal criteria is different. What we look for in terms of sales, ROI, profit, different things work for different people. So there's that, but then also it could be that there is something that actually works out for the majority. So that is one of the only instances where you'll find things like saturation on a listing. Also, if a group is badly handled, and let's say they've got 500 members and they're dropping in like a singular deal for all 500 sets of eyes to see, that's a lot of people that are going to go for that deal. And therefore those are the only instances that create saturation. No matter what you hear about saturation on Amazon, it doesn't exist except from those instances. Now, you want the group, you want the service to be as small as possible, ideally, and this means that you won't have very much in the way of competition. And again, if they can do you a unique leads flow, which not many do, just because it requires far more work on their side, they kind of become your own like virtual assistant in a sense, and not many are prepared to do that, because obviously they need to serve lots of customers. Maybe they can do you a unique deal flow, but not many people do that. Not many services do that. But ideally, it'll be randomized. If they're giving out the same set of deals to everyone, which some services have been known to do, you want to avoid those. So that's why I put it at number 5. Yes, it's good for, I don't know, some leads here and there, and you've not really had to do any work for them. But ultimately, there's just far too much to consider with these. And also, it can make us, I can't really think of any other word other than kind of like lazy. We kind of become reliant on these services to find leads for us instead of doing it ourselves. And even if you have a service like this, it's still important to be finding stuff for yourself, because that's where the truly unique things can be found. Unique and deal sheet services doesn't really go hand in hand very well. So that's why I put it at number 5. Standard sourcing, number 4. So this is where you are finding deals online and then checking Amazon. So this example, I found something, it's on sale on a website, and I'm checking what price it's selling at on Amazon. Obviously, I don't think there's quite enough difference there for that to be a deal in that instance. If it was lower on the site, which it could get lower on that website, then, you know, it might be a deal. But obviously, yeah, the thing with that is you're looking on a website, then looking on Amazon, and then seeing if it's going to work out. Now, standard sourcing, it is the standard thing. Everyone does it, and it obviously works. But I feel like there's better techniques out there that cut a few corners and are a bit easier. But that's just me personally. Someone else might put standard sourcing at, say, number 2, but I'd put it at number 4. You can't go wrong with standard sourcing, really. But as I say, I think there's slightly better techniques out there. One of which is at number 3, storefront stalking. So you are checking other sellers' storefronts for potential leads. Now, looking at this picture that I've got on the screen, I want you to ignore the box that is under the socks and also the box that is on the right side of the screen. I just want you to focus on the store itself. So just picture that. I mean, if you don't have the tool that pops up and does this, go on to an Amazon storefront. Now, whilst you are looking at a load of products that the seller's obviously gone ahead and bought to resell, there's still going to be a bit of work there for you to do. So you'll be looking for consistencies. You'll be looking for a brand that they have a lot of, or a category that they have a lot of. And this can be a good solid lead for you, because there must be a reason why they have so much of one particular brand. It could be that they could very well have a special deal with the brand themselves, and obviously we're not going to know that. But it could also mean that there is a sale on somewhere, or there's some wholesalers that do pretty good deals on this stuff, which is why that's the case. So when we get an understanding of the top brands and the top categories that seller is selling, especially, you know, if we're already selling on a couple of listings that they're also on, maybe we can see what others are doing as well. It's a bit of a sneaky one, this one, but ultimately it is just another sourcing technique, and I find it quite useful, especially if I'm feeling quite stuck on a particular day for finding things. And obviously, if you just sat there with Google open and you're like, what do I even search? This can be a good thing to do. Just having a look, getting inspiration from another seller, that can be really good for you. Now, if you have the analysis tool Buybot Pro, which I'm sure most of you will watching this, because it is one of the best deal analyzers out there, a little bonus perk to having Buybot Pro is when you go on a seller's storefront, you get the little quick look box underneath every item, which gives you a bit of basic info, and you get this panel that pops up to the right side of the screen, which will tell you the top brands and the top categories that the seller is selling. So it cuts a few corners, and you don't have to work through potentially thousands of items in that seller's storefront. It's going to tell you right there and then. You got the top brands, and then below that would be the top categories. So it really just summarizes that nicely for you. And hey, if you have a look at the little quick look box, you might see something with a decent BSR, which, you know, you're on the trail there. You're well on the way to finding a decent product. You just have to find somewhere that's cheap enough to buy it from. And obviously, as I say, if you can see that they have a lot of one particular brand, there could be a massive sale going on somewhere. So storefront stalking is at number 3. Number 2, reverse sourcing. Now, for some of you, you might be going, I put storefront stalking above that one, or I don't know. But for me, I think reverse sourcing isn't given enough praise. Now, it's literally only just looking at stuff on Amazon, then seeing if you can find it online after you've seen if it's actually going to be worthwhile on Amazon. Now, I like doing this way. This is my go-to sourcing technique. This is brilliant because I'll go to all of that work of finding something online, and yeah, it might have a really good profit, but the thing is, it might not be very good BSR wise. So then I'm just sort of shot down, or it's got an IP issue or something like that, where I do all this work prior and then it's just shot down in like a moment. At least if I look on Amazon and see things that are selling well, see things with a good BSR, see things that don't have any IP issues, I don't have to worry about being shot down in an instant. I can check out these things fairly quickly. I can, especially if I've got something like Buybot Pro, I can do my analysis and just check out all these various bits and pieces, and then see if I can find it for a cheap enough price online. And obviously, I already know in my head this is going to be a deal. I don't have to wonder about it and then do all that work just to have it shot down in an instant. If I do it this way, I find it much quicker. And I've also found a better deal yield using this method as well. But that's me personally. Number 1, I would say sourcing tools. Now you might think, oh, of course you'd say that. But honestly, they make sourcing faster for you and much more convenient. If you can use a sourcing tool, use one. Maybe you're at the point where it's not financially feasible, in which case try those other sourcing techniques that I've mentioned. Like storefront stalking, standard sourcing, reverse sourcing. None of those will cost you anything. But if you can invest in a sourcing tool, do it. Honestly, it's going to save you so much time, just make sourcing a whole lot easier. I'm sure you've had days where your head's in your hands over sourcing and you've spent ages and ages and ages and ages looking at a particular website only for there to not really be many deals, or, you know, you comb through and you find a bunch of deals but you feel that there's going to be more, but obviously there's loads more work to do on that website. Honestly, a tool like Sellability is going to change the game for you. It's got a massive database of stores in there, and you just click the store and it scans through, and in a matter of minutes it's found all potential deals. Then you just sift through and pick the ones that you want. It works for the UK, it works for the US. There's a new Chrome extension whereby you can add a web, if they don't have it in the database, you can basically add a website and then have that extension scan through the site for you. So you can just go and do other things and have Sellability do all this sourcing work for you. And all you go and do is, when you have the results, is just sift through and pick the ones that work for you and your business. And there's filters and stuff in there to help you find deals quicker out of the ones that have been found. So if you can invest in a sourcing tool, do it. Sellability is brilliant. It has a free trial, so you can use it for free for a time. And you've basically got everything to gain and nothing to lose through using a sourcing tool. So I put this at number 1 because it makes sourcing the quickest. I would say that having used Sellability, it's found things for me that I just wouldn't have found on my own, because obviously I'm just me, and this tool has the power to scrape through a website. So it's going to find all potential deals, and I just pick through and see what I want. So Sellability, sourcing tools at number 1. I've tried a bunch of them. I've tried Tactical Arbitrage when Source Mogul was a thing. I tried Source Mogul, and obviously Sellability. I would, again, say Sellability over the others. I mean, Source Mogul's not really a choice anymore. They've got the most user-friendly software. It's dead easy to get on with, and it's super quick as well. So, yeah. from 5 through to 1, deal sheets, standard sourcing, storefront stalking, reverse sourcing, and sourcing tools at number 1. Hopefully this has helped you, maybe given you a bit of inspiration. Thanks for watching.